Hey guys, Dr. Ben here, F8 Wealth Centers. I'm showing you my book because I wrote this book, Blood Sugar Doesn't Lie, because I wanted to educate people in regards to blood sugar, the imbalances that are going on, and how it affects your day-to-day life. And this is a resource. I'm going to summarize it basically today. I get questions all the time from people. How do I know if I have insulin resistance? How do I fix insulin resistance? How do I know if I have metabolic syndrome or if I'm pre-diabetic or diabetic? All these different things. So what I'm going to do today is show you exactly how to tell what you have going on and then give you some steps, get you moving your feet so that you know where you need to move your feet to be able to get that next healing process. And so here we go. Welcome everybody. Pop those, and yes, Brittany, thank you. There's a link to my book on there as well. It is a short and sweet. People come back and say, "Love your book. I read it." I believe them because you can actually read that. Hey, Carla, great to see you. So pop down below where you guys are watching from. Let me know if you've got any blood sugar issues going on. And here's the things I want to know. If you have these markers in your blood work, go ahead and put that down below. Your A1C. I want to hear if you have an insulin run, what your glucose has been running, and your GGT as well. Hey, Sharon, up there in Ontario, good to see you. So here we go. There's multiple levels that we're looking at when we're thinking about blood sugar imbalances. And this can start at really an early age. We see people with insulin resistance. We see people with prediabetes in their 20s and 30s now. It's really, really more common than you'd think. So insulin resistance is going to basically be where, this is how I like to draw this. So our cells have receptors. So here's the cell. Our cell has a receptor. Kind of think of it as a keyhole that insulin goes in. Insulin grabs a hold of glucose. So when your blood sugar goes up, glucose, it's turned into glucose. Your pancreas secretes that insulin. Insulin goes into the receptor in the cell, opens up the cell, and the cell makes energy. So then we have energy to go and do all the things that we need to do. What happens with insulin resistance is that receptor gets gummed up. So if somebody is spiking, going up and down, up and down, up and down all day long, which is what happens in today's day and age. Robin, we had 150 in the mornings. Yeah. Dawn phenomena, how to fix that. We'll talk about that in a minute here. So we get these ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs all day long. And we kick out a lot of insulin, and then those receptors end up getting gummed up, kind of like a keyhole. So you're opening up that door, and you're just like jimmying it this way, that way, this way, that way, and it just doesn't open. So what the body does is it sends out more insulin, more insulin, more insulin, and eventually that keyhole gets gummed up, and then we have all of this insulin floating around. Insulin is great. If you know anybody with type 1 diabetes, you know that if they don't have insulin, they're going to have some major, major problems. So insulin resistance is when we get resistant to that, insulin levels go up high, and then it's going to create this inflammatory cascade. So almost everybody with insulin resistance is having inflammation, their joints are hurting, they're tired, they are not getting a consistent stream of glucose. And so here's the numbers that we want. I love to do the blood work non-fasting. And this is really, really important. A lot of nurses, doctors, people that we work on, they're like, but they've always said, I've got to do this fasting. Well, that's not the whole story, because fasting, sure, 8, 10, 12 hours, your body can compensate, and it can say, oh, you know what, I've been able to figure this out and balance out my insulin, balance out my glucose in there. But if we're doing it non-fasting, this is when you pick up insulin resistance. So for all you people that have asked, how can I tell if I have insulin resistance? This is the way to do it. You do a non-fasting test, and you check insulin in there, you check glucose in there, you check triglycerides in there, and this is what's going to tell you way more about insulin resistance than any other test out there. So non-fasting insulin, I like that under 10. So if you're doing an insulin test, if you talk to Dr. Bredesen, he wrote the End of Alzheimer's, Dr. Perlmutter, he wrote Brain, all these neuro brain docs that talk about blood sugar, they like insulin, even non-fasting, under 10. The lab range will say 25 is okay. So if somebody's up at 25, I know they're making too much insulin, their glucose is going up too high, they probably have some insulin resistance. So what happens is that keyhole is blocked, it's gummed up, and so we're kicking out more and more and more insulin. And a lot of times it's going to be like this. So you eat something, your glucose shoots up. So you have like some orange juice, or you have pancakes, or even quinoa, or a banana, or even sweet potato can do this. It goes up, and then the body kicks out that insulin in response to that, trying to bring it down. And if we're doing that too much, if we're going up too high, the body will kick out too much insulin because it says, oh my gosh, we've just got to get it down. How low? I don't care, just get it down. So we get this insulin rush, and then eventually those cells stop responding to it. So if your insulin is high, and glucose is interesting because a lot of times with these type of people, we will actually see glucose low. I don't like glucose under 85, but we will see glucose low because we're actually already caught it and we're pulling it down, but we're already obviously 60s and 70s, and their insulin is still up at like 50 to 100. And so if they wait another hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, you're going to be crashing down and totally dropping. And that's that hypoglycemia, that's that low blood sugar effect that is going on there. So we know that we've got to get these consistent, we've got to get these in the good range to where it's just a little bit of a rise and a little bit of a drop. And that's the whole point of doing the blood sugar monitoring like we do with patients all of the time. So insulin resistance is a real thing, and it is a major, major problem. It is one of the biggest reasons why we see C-reactive protein. That's one of the inflammatory markers. We'll see triglycerides, cholesterol high. We see fatty liver. All of these things coming about because of this insulin resistance. So the fixed insulin resistance, we'll get into that in a second, but it's basically to keep the blood sugar as stable as possible. Get this, I've got some type 1 diabetic patients that we're working with. Type 1 diabetes, they don't make or produce insulin on their own. They've got to inject that in. And what happens is if they eat exactly like they need to, that blood sugar will stay steady, and they don't even need to kick out insulin. They don't need to put insulin in. So Michelle, is there a natural supplement to help with high insulin? The natural supplement is actual exercise, movement, and not getting it high in the first place. Because here's the deal, if your glucose here's the good range, and if it is like this all day and your blood sugar stays steady, remember, Michelle, you've been on here a bunch, 85 to 110, you've heard me say that before, and 85 to 110, if we're bouncing higher or lower than that, then we're going to be kicking out, especially on those highs, we're going to be kicking out more insulin. So the natural thing to do, hey Paula, the natural thing to do for high insulin is to keep that blood sugar steady as possible. Start checking your blood sugar. If you can get a hold of a continuous glucose monitor, do that one. If not, start doing finger pricks and figure out which foods spike that blood sugar up and which foods keep that blood sugar steady there. Eat more of the good things, less of the bad things, and that is going to stabilize this blood sugar out, and there won't be a need for insulin. Even with insulin resistance, if you eat food that keeps it stabilized, you do not need to be worried about that insulin resistance. It's going to reverse itself in 3 to 6 months. Exercise is the other part. And so if you feel that blood sugar go up, if that glucose is going high, if you've got this excess insulin flowing around, you've got to do some exercise. It can be as easy as like some air squat jumps where you're doing 20 of those, and do some jumps, do some air squats, do some lunges, go run around with the dog a little bit, something, get on your stationary bike, do a little sprint on there. You've got to do something to get that to get that blood sugar to pull out, but exercise is a great part of that. So Stephanie, are CGMs available over the counter? No, they are prescription only. We use a Dexcom 6 with all of our patients, and so here's what we're looking at is every single new patient that we work with gets a CGM. And we have a special deal set up with the pharmacy. We're able to get that with our patients. It is an absolute game changer. If you don't have that, if you're not a patient now, and we work with people all over the country, so it don't matter if you're in Colorado or Tennessee, you can work with us from anywhere. But if you don't have that access, start using your glucose monitor. Angela, my current doctor diagnosed me with type 2, but refuses to treat it. So here's the deal, Angela. Even if they did say, I'm going to treat this, they would give you metformin, they would give you insulin, something like that, and that is not going to fix the problem. The way that you're going to treat type 2 diabetes and how our patients reverse it is to do this, figure out which foods are going up too high, which foods are staying in the good range, do more of the good stuff, less of the bad stuff. People can reverse their diabetes in 6 to 8 weeks. We've seen it. We've seen people get off of insulin within 2 to 3 months. And type 1 diabetes is different, but type 2 diabetes, absolutely. We've seen that over and over and over again. So don't worry that your doctor's not treating you. I've seen lots of people have really bad symptoms with metformin. So don't be discouraged that they're not treating that. Be encouraged that there are things that you can do outside of their treatment to actually reverse the diabetes, not just suppress it. So we've got to get that in the good range. Metabolic syndrome is this same scenario. Insulin resistance is basically spilling into that metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome is where we have these certain markers that you're looking for: high cholesterol, high triglycerides, being overweight or obese. We've got glucose going high, blood pressure going high. All of these symptoms are blood sugar related. They are what we call metabolic syndrome, meaning we're not getting our glucose into the cells, our glucose is too high, insulin is too high, and we're creating this inflammatory cascade as we go through there. So, absolutely important to figure out what you need to be eating and what you don't. I would love to sell a whole bunch of blood sugar supplements and go, oh, just go take that and you're totally fine. If it worked, I would be doing that, but it doesn't work. In my book, I don't have a menu, a meal plan, a diet, supplement recommendations in there. Because it's way more individualized than that. We've got to come from that place of figuring out what works for you. So Carla there asked, what is prediabetes? So thanks for jumping into that next topic here. So prediabetes is going to be when we look at the A1C, hemoglobin A1C, and it is 5.7. So if it's 5.7, 5.8, 5.9, you are pre-diabetic. This means that blood sugar, here's our good range, it's averaging too high. We don't know what's happening. It might be spiking and still coming down and doing this. It might just be staying high. We don't know what it's doing and where that range is, but we know where the average is. So pre-diabetes is 5.7. Yeah, Allison, nothing like healing insulin resistant, watching the inches fall off even during the holidays. I love it when patients start in around Thanksgiving or a little bit before, and I'm like, you're going to be down 15 pounds by Christmas. Everybody else is going to be up 15 pounds, and you're going to be feeling so much better. And you're not going to have to be like, oh my gosh, now I'm ready for my New Year's resolution. You've got your life balanced out, and you're getting your blood sugar where you need to be. So pre-diabetes is where the average is up too high, 5.7 to 5.9. If somebody's 5.9, 6.0, yet they're creeping into that diabetes range. For us, it's basically diabetes. But here's the deal. Diabetes is not a thing that you arrive at. It's not like, oh, I've now got colon cancer and I got to take out my colon. Diabetes is not a thing that you get to. It's a range of blood sugar. It's an average blood sugar. If your blood sugar is averaging too high, you'd be classified as diabetic. If you bring your blood sugar average down, you're not diabetic anymore. It's as simple as that. And that's how we get people to reverse their diabetes all the time, is you just go, we're going to change your liver, change your gut, change your inflammation, all these things, and what you're eating, bring it down, and you are going to be in that good range. So, it's a beautiful thing to be able to see these numbers change. We'll see people 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", come down to 5'3", 4', 5 in a matter of weeks to months. It changes very, very quickly. So prediabetes is all that is just a little bit higher on the blood sugar average. We like it from 5.1 to 5.3 is where that optimal A1C is. Maria, it's funny what happens when you learn how to listen to your body and leave Western medicine. I'm healing. Absolutely. Unfortunately, we are in a state now where traditional medicine, Western medicine, modern medicine, whatever you want to call it, is failing miserably at dealing with chronic conditions. If I chop my finger off, I want to go to the ER. My 15-year-old, he sprained his ankle back, the bone still hurts in there. We're going to go get x-rays and we're going to figure out if anything's broken or anything else is going on there. There's times that it's appropriate and that you need to go down that path. But as far as chronic conditions, diabetes, prediabetes, insulin resistance, all of these different issues out there, neurological conditions, all these, traditional medicine fails miserably with these conditions. And it's why you don't hear, hey, you know what, diabetes went down 20% this year. Doesn't happen. Cancer went down 20% this year. Doesn't happen. It goes 20% higher because we're failing. As a society, we need to be looking into how we can reverse these things. Carla, if you lower your triglycerides, will it change your sugar levels? Here's the deal. I love this question, and all of you people listen up because this is so important. Your triglycerides are high because of your blood sugar. It's not because your blood sugar isn't high because of your triglycerides. So as you stabilize your blood sugar, your triglycerides are going to come down. Absolutely, 100% guaranteed. We've never seen that fail. If your A1C comes down, if you get your blood sugar stabilized, your triglycerides will come down. The body converts glucose into those triglycerides, stores them in the liver. That's why we get fatty liver, all of these other issues. So you've got to get that blood sugar stable, just like blood pressure. If you have high blood pressure, get your blood sugar down and it will go away. Are all bottled waters bad for you? That's a bigger question than we have time for, Michelle. But I would say get your own water filter at your house, then you know what's in there. So here's the deal, guys. Blood sugar, we need it as consistent and stable as possible all day long. If you do that one thing, you will change the course of your life. You will prevent things, you will reverse things, and your life will be dramatically different than it could be. So I encourage you to take action today. Start checking your blood sugar, figure out your insulin resistance, your prediabetes, metabolic syndrome, whatever it is. It even doesn't really matter, because if you stabilize your blood sugar, all of those other things are going to go away. So love having you guys on. Stay strong out there. And if you got any questions at all, drop us a line. If you can't figure out how to do this on your own, we have doctors all over the country that are ready to help you get your life back. Take care, guys.